The judicial branch of U.S. government, presented by the Citizen Genius Project. The three branches of U.S. government are the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. This video will focus only on the judicial branch. The judicial branch is described in Article 3 of the Constitution. Its main role is to interpret laws, and it's led by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court. Below it are numerous federal appellate courts and federal district courts. The Supreme Court was created by the Constitution, and the other two were created by Congress. Federal judges are selected by being nominated by the President and approved by the Senate. According to the Constitution, there are no qualifications to be a federal judge. Once judges are appointed, they serve for life unless they resign, retire, or get removed through the impeachment process. Now let's briefly examine each type of court. There are 94 federal district courts that cover a specific geographic region. There is at least one in every state. They deal with general issues and hear most of the federal cases. In addition, there are two non-geographically based district courts, the U.S. Court of International Trade and the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. Jurisdiction refers to the right of a court to decide a case. District courts have original jurisdiction, meaning they are the first type of court to hear many types of federal cases. For example, if a man is arrested and put on trial for a federal crime such as destroying mailboxes, he will be tried in a district court in his state. If the court finds the man innocent, he will be set free. But if he is found guilty, he will be punished. Appellate courts are a level above district courts. There are 12 U.S. Circuit Courts of Appeals that hear general cases in a specific geographic region. This map shows the regions covered by 11 appellate courts, and Washington, D.C. has its own appellate court. In addition, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit deals with specialized cases nationwide. Appellate courts have appellate jurisdiction, which means they review cases from the district courts to make sure the law was applied correctly. Because the man who destroyed the mailboxes was found guilty by the district court, he can ask the appellate court in his geographic region to examine the case and make a new decision. An appellate court can deny the request, or it can review the case. If it reviews the case, it can affirm the district court's decision, reverse it, and/or remand the case, meaning it will be sent back to the district court with instructions on what to do. The Supreme Court is the highest court. Its size grew from 6 to 10 justices, but has had 9 justices since 1869. There is one leader called the Chief Justice, and there are 8 associate justices. The Supreme Court hears less than 150 cases per year, although it gets about 8,000 requests. Its term starts the first Monday in October, and it hears cases intermittently until the end of June or early July. In some cases, the Supreme Court has original jurisdiction. Otherwise, it has appellate jurisdiction over all federal cases. It may also take cases from state Supreme Courts, particularly when there is a constitutional issue to settle. Like appellate courts, the Supreme Court can affirm, reverse, and/or remand a case. Judicial review is an important power of the federal courts, and it is often associated with the Supreme Court in particular. This power was not explicitly given to the federal courts in the Constitution, but rather established by the Supreme Court in the 1803 case Marbury v. Madison. Judicial review means courts can examine laws and executive actions to decide whether or not they are constitutional. Because of this power, federal courts can invalidate or reject actions of the legislative and executive branches if they violate the Constitution. Whether a case is a matter of judicial review or not, the Supreme Court is the court of last resort because its decisions are final. When the Supreme Court makes decisions, it establishes precedents that all lower courts must follow. In short, the Supreme Court has the final word on judicial matters. Finally, Let's see how the Supreme Court can get involved in the case of the man who destroyed the mailboxes. First, a quick review. The man was put on trial in a district court. If found innocent, he would have been set free. But instead, he was found guilty and sent to prison. The man decided to appeal his conviction by asking the appropriate appellate court to review his case. The appellate court agreed and affirmed the conviction. Now the man can ask the Supreme Court to review his case. Despite the odds, the Supreme Court agrees. Let's end on a happy note and say the Supreme Court reverses the man's conviction and sets him free. This has been a short overview of the judicial branch presented by the Citizen Genius Project.